Hi everyone, my name is Justin. This is Nooks Cooks. Today I'm going to be baking Panecillos de San Nicholas. So let's start. Panecillos de San Nicholas is a shortbread cookie that was introduced to the Philippines in the 1600s by Augustinian friars as they were spreading their love of Catholicism across the Philippine Islands, or whatever they'd like to call it. Colonization. Panecillos de San Nicholas, also known as San Nicholas for short, translates from Spanish to English as roll of St. Nicholas. And if you're wondering why it's called a roll as opposed to cookie like galletas, there's a long story. So St. Nicholas of Italy, not St. Nick, Santa, he had a dream while he was sick that the Virgin Mary told him to dip a roll of bread in water and eat it, and that would cure his sickness. Whether or not that part is true, he in turn started doing that for the sick where he was from, and the name stuck. I like a good origin story just as much as anybody else, whether it's a Marvel superhero or if it's a food. And Panecillos de San Nicholas is no different. Back when these Augustinian friars were spreading their love of Catholicism, they were also building churches. So one of the things they needed to use for the churches were the egg whites for the construction, because there was no cement at the time. So egg whites was one of the things that they used for constructing the churches or painting the interiors of the churches white. Because they were using all these egg whites, there was an excess of egg yolks, and the nuns taught the local people in Pampanga, the province that my family is from, how to cook or bake these cookies. A lot of the recipes I use on this channel are family heirloom recipes, and I can't always find exactly what I'm looking for, so when I need to do a little bit more research, I pull up one of my books. This is Atching Lillian's Heirloom Recipes book. Atching Lillian Borromeo is one of the preeminent chefs, cooks, food historians of the Philippines, and we had the pleasure of meeting her in 2016. We went to her house in Pampanga. We were looking to actually buy these cookies. So we found her house. It was this nondescript building that was a block off from the main road behind a gas station. So we knocked on the door and somebody let us in, and we actually crashed somebody's party that they paid for to be hosted by her. They had food and she was giving presentations on how to cook different things. And she was so gracious with her time. She let us in. I mean, we really only wanted to buy the cookies, but we got to eat, we got to talk with her. She signed a book, and it was a great experience. The main distinguishing feature of the Panecillos de San Nicholas is the intricate design found on the front of the cookie, and that's made with one of these molds right here. This is one that we purchased at Atching Lillian's house, and they represent different towns or families. And this one, I believe, has St. Nicholas on the front. And when we were at Atching Lillian's house, she had molds that her family had passed on for hundreds of years, and hoping we can do the same. It's not necessary to have one of these molds, but it definitely makes it that much more special. Okay, here are all the ingredients in Panecillos de San Nicholas, starting with cornstarch. The original recipe calls for either cornstarch or arrowroot flour. Arrowroot flour is not always readily available, so cornstarch is totally acceptable to use. We have all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, and like I mentioned in the story, we have eggs, but we're only going to be using the egg yolks. I have a neutral oil. This happens to be vegetable oil, coconut milk, unsalted butter, baking powder, salt, and we're going to be using the rind or zest of one lemon. Start by separating out the egg yolks from the egg whites. Now to start putting together the cookie dough by adding the cornstarch, granulated sugar, baking powder, and kosher salt. Then I add in the unsalted butter. This is actually my third attempt in as many days trying to do this recipe because I couldn't get it quite right, and after doing a little bit of reading, I found that using cold butter for a shortbread helped get it to be thinner and crispier. And I like doing this step by hand because I wanted to break up all the clumps of butter and make sure it really incorporated into the cornstarch and dough. Add in the coconut milk, also known as gata. Add in the egg yolks. Then zest the skin off of a lemon. Add in the vegetable oil. Could I have done this all in a KitchenAid mixer? Yes. Should I have done this all in a KitchenAid mixer? Yes. Though I really wanted to make it by hand just like Atching Lillian does. Then I mix in the flour slowly in batches. Once all the dough starts to come together, I take it out of the bowl and start to roll it by hand. The recipe calls for 2 cups of all-purpose flour, or about 300 grams, and I just found that to not be enough. It was a little bit too soft, so I added 100 grams for a total of 400 grams of flour, and I found that to be the right amount. And by right amount, at this point I was able to test it by pressing my fingers in and no dough would stick to it. Just like how I used the cold butter, I wanted to make sure that the dough was extra cold, so I put it in the refrigerator for about 45 minutes to make sure that it was more solid. Per the recipe, I brushed on a little bit of oil onto the mold to try to create a non-stick surface. I actually found that this was not as helpful as it should have been, at least in my experience. This is one of many times I filmed trying to make the cookie, and I found this to be one of the more successful ones. I take a little bit of dough and I roll it in the flour, really covered in flour. I found this to be the most successful way to create a non-stick surface and not have the dough stick to the mold. Then I plopped the dough onto the mold and rolled it out with a rolling pin, as thin as I could within reason. If you don't have a mold, you can roll out a piece of dough thinly and cut it with a cookie cutter. And then you take a piece of parchment paper and put it to the back of the dough, and this will help peel back the dough off of the mold. Carefully pull it back, making sure not to rip it, and look at that. One nice piece. I finished shaping the Sanikolas cookie with a cookie cutter. In this case, I'm using a fluted cookie cutter to give it a special touch. I bake the cookies at 350 degrees Fahrenheit until they develop a beautiful golden brown color, about 30 minutes in conventional bake or 22 minutes using convection. The bake time used to be measured by reciting a set of prayers, including 3 Our Fathers, 1 Hail Mary, 1 Glory Be, and 1 Ave Regina. This is a clip from the previous day where I was comparing the first and second iterations of the cookie. The top left is the first one I did. It's really thick. It's underbaked, more so because of the color. I mean, you could eat it, but you can see it's a pale white color and not that beautiful brown that you're looking for. I think I enjoy torturing myself with this. I just really wanted to get it right. And this is my second iteration. This is from day 2 of trying this, and I got the color a lot better than day 1 from what you saw earlier. They're still a little bit on the thicker side, definitely thinner than the first day, and I thought I could do just a little bit better with the changes that I made. So this is attempt number 3. I promised myself I'm gonna stop at attempt number 3 until attempt number 4 down the road, but not for this video. Much thinner, better color, a lot more brown. And I think when I taste these, it's gonna make for a lot crisper cookie, and these are closer to the original that you'll find in the Philippines. So let's put them side by side here. So yeah, you can see the color difference. That had more to do with how long it was in the oven. And also, I guess the thinness of, or the thickness of the cookie affected how long it took to get that nice color. And then you can see it is thinner. So I think the cold butter and chilling the dough helped a lot. Yeah, I'm very happy with this. Okay, it's time to give the San Nicholas cookies a taste. I don't have any from my day 1. I have a cookie from day 2, and I have the one from today. Day 1 versus day 2. I'm not really anticipating much differences in the flavor of these two cookies. It's more so the crunch or how crispy they are. Let's see. Okay, so day 2. A really nice cookie. It doesn't have that crunchiness or that crispiness that the cookie is supposed to have, and that was kind of expected. But you do have that beautiful lemon flavor that cuts through all the richness of the butter in this shortbread cookie. Okay, and now day 3, hopefully my last iteration, at least for this video. Okay, take a bite. Mga tamo, let's eat. You can tell that after eating this cookie that it's crispier, it's crunchier, it's thinner, and because of that, it browned a lot more, and you can taste that different flavor. It's not burned per se, but it has a more developed flavor and a lot more reminiscent of the original cookie in the Philippines, the original San Nicholas cookie in the Philippines. And still you can taste that lemon flavor. It still makes its way through all the more complex flavors of the better bake and all the butter. All in all, a very good cookie. Thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for sticking through it. I was out of my comfort zone trying to nail this cookie and trying to figure out how I could make it as close to my memory as possible. And leave me a comment down below of a food with your favorite origin story. And remember to like and subscribe. Peace!